Hello and welcome back to the King James Bible Sunday School channel on YouTube and Rumble, and to our day-by-day devotional from the Call to Glory publication. This year we're going through this, and today is July the 16th, 2026, July 16th, 2026. The devotional is going to come from 2 Timothy chapter 3 verses 1 through 14. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verses 1 through 14. And before we go into the devotional, we're going to go through our daily Bible reading schedules. And today's reading from the devotional itself is going to be from Psalms 19, 20, and 21, and Acts chapter 19, verse 21 through 41. That's Psalms 19, 20, and 21, and Acts chapter 19, verse 21 through 41. Then tomorrow will be Psalms 22, 23, and 24, Psalms 22, 23, and 24, and Acts chapter 20, verse 1 through 16. Acts chapter 20, verse 1 through 16. Then for our ribbon systems, the yearly schedule is going to be Judges finish Judges chapter 21, Ruth chapter 1, Psalms 99, 100, and half of 101. Then Ezekiel 6, and Luke 18, and a fifth of Luke 19. And then 3/4 of 1 Timothy chapter number 1. Then tomorrow, I'm going to finish Ruth chapter 2, Psalms 101, and a third of 102. Ezekiel 7, about half of that. Luke 19, about half of that. Then 1 Timothy chapter 1, finish that, and about a third of chapter 2. Then our 6-month schedule, we got Genesis 21, Joshua 15, verses 7 through 45, Isaiah chapter 23 and chapter 24, verse 1 through 12, 1 Chronicles chapter 17, and Matthew chapter 20 and 21, verses 1 through 22. That's Genesis 21, Joshua 15, verse 7 through 45, Isaiah chapter 23 and chapter 24, verses 1 through 12, 1 Chronicles chapter 17. Matthew 20 and 21, verses 1 through 22. And tomorrow will be Genesis 22, Joshua chapter 15, verse 46 through 63. Then chapter 16 and chapter 17, verses 1 through 6. Isaiah chapter 24, verse 13 through 22, and chapter 25. 1 Chronicles chapter 18 and 19. Matthew 21, verses 23 through 46, and 22, verses 1 through 14. Genesis 22, Joshua 15, verse 46 through the end of the chapter, all of chapter 16, then chapter 17, verse 1 through 6. Isaiah chapter 24, verse 13 through the end of the chapter, then chapter 25, 1 Chronicles chapters 18 and 19, and Matthew chapter 21, verse 23 through 46, and chapter 22, verse 1 through 14. Then the 3-month schedule for the New Testament reading, we're in Luke, and today is Luke chapter 10, and tomorrow will be Luke chapter 11, And for the devotion from 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, of course 1 through 14 is the whole thing, but 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 is here. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. First verse of chapter 3 of 2 Timothy. Prosperous and perilous times. Pastor Dale Schwartz, Harbor Light Baptist Church, West Haven, Connecticut. Harbor spelled Harbor. I don't know if that's the normal way to spell harbor or not, or if there's two different harbors, one harbor. I don't know. Let me know, and I'll check it out sometime when I'm checking my English, if that's British spelling or what. But anyway, Pastor Dale Schwartz, that's SCHWARZ. That's just the way I pronounce that. I'm not sure. Schwartz, but Schwartz is the way I've always pronounced a word, name like that. Anyway, prosperous in perilous times. Perilous times have come. The word perilous means dangerous, hazardous, full of risk, as a perilous undertaking or a perilous situation. We see these types of situations occurring more and more across our nation and across the world. 2 Timothy chapter 3 explains these times in detail, and the Apostle Paul admonishes us in verse 14 to continue doing right in the midst of it all. In other words, we are to live prosperously in the eyes of God in perilous times. The word prosperous means advancing in our pursuit of doing God's will, making gain or increase, thriving, successful. The world sees success as simply more money or possessions, or more earthly pleasure or popularity. God sees success differently. The world would not consider Paul to be successful considering all the trials and tribulations that he went through, but he was successful in God's eyes. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 20 through 33. He was prosperous biblically. Through his perils, Paul was winning eternal souls to Christ. You can lose money very easily, but once a soul is saved, they are saved forever, and that person has a home in heaven when they die that no one can ever take away. Through his perils, Paul forgave people and saved people, laying up treasures for himself in heaven, as Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 through 20 teaches. You can lose possessions in this life, but uh, possessions and treasures we will have in heaven are forever. Through his perils, Paul walked with God and had a good relationship with God, making him popular with the Lord. You can lose friends and popularity here, but nothing compares to our friend Jesus, who sticketh closer than a brother. Prosperous in perilous times. Perilous times. All right, that's the reading for today, and I'll recommend that to your meditation, of course. Tomorrow's devotion is coming from Acts chapter 16, verses 23 through 30, Revelation chapter 5, verse 6 through 10, and chapter 14, verses 1 through 3. That's Acts chapter 16, verse 23 through 30, Revelation chapter 5, verse 6 through 10, and Revelation 14, verse 1 through 3. All right, and of course, I want to remind you to be reading the Word of God, and that I challenged on yesterday, and hope that you've taken up the challenge. It's up to you, of course, to go through the Psalms via the Treasury of David. Spurgeon's Treasury of David. That's my recommendation. But if you're just going through the Psalms in some other devotional type of fashion, not just the Psalm itself, but an exposition, somebody's exposition of the Psalms, you might find a video where some preacher has gone through the Psalms and just, or multiple videos, a series of videos, and you just follow them through the Psalms. That's another way to do it. That's a non-written way to do it. But I'm just you know holding on to the Treasury of David and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I know at least some of the volumes are on Google Books, probably all of them, and on archive.org. I'm sure that they're there too. You just have to look and find them and see what version it is. 3-volume set, a 7-volume set, and then somebody's probably collected them out there into one. I did look on like Spurgeon's Gems and the Spurgeon.org, the library, and apparently they don't have that, except in Spurgeon's Gems, they did have an abridged version. When you click on it, it's the entire book in a text format. So it's it's very small. If I was going to read it, I would like copy and paste it to, say, a Word document, and then at least there for wraps on pages and stuff, and that would be a little bit easier to be able to read. But it looked a little bit tough, but it was abridged, and I don't know what all abridgments there are in that, and how much shorter it therefore is, but that was available. So uh, if you're pressed for the time, then you can do that. I'll find out at some point, what kind of time it takes, and let you know all of that. But in the meanwhile, the challenge is out there. I hope that you'll take it. I'm just going to mention it from time to time, not every single time. Um, I come back and I may say, it takes this long to do it. Um, you might want to divide it up and do it slower. You could take a full year to do that, or longer. It just depends what happens, and I couldn't tell you yet whether or not I'm going to recommend slowing down or anything like that. I don't know, but I might. I I sometimes give you the option and try to let you know how it can happen to where you can still get in on the blessing of it, really. But you're not really doing the same uh, amount of reading and stuff. I try to make accommodations for you. Uh, if you've been watching very long, you know that I do that for a lot of stuff. That's why we have a year-long schedule with the ribbons instead of just 6-month schedule. You but anyway, that's all right. And I'll keep on accommodating the best I can to try to encourage you to read the Word of God, believe it, trust it, be blessed through it, and be a blessing to others with it. We'll see you again tomorrow for another day by day devotional. Bye.